Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Silver the Hedgehog here, and I am of course back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Kirby Superstar Ultra for the Nintendo DS. And I do apologize with the lack of uploading schedules for this game. Clearly it's because of how the fact that we're busy doing stuff, and also because of how the fact that I was busy trying to able to sort things out in terms of help with the hero mode on my own time, just to do 18 other playthroughs off screen, and then after I'm done with that, then I can pretty much guarantee to able to finish up this entire Let's Play in time. So either way though, speaking of such though, last time, if I recall correctly, is that we have managed to recently completed Meta Nightmare Ultra by going through Milky Way Wishes and managed to defeat Galactic Knight. And all in all, we did have a really great time on that. So today for this episode is the fact that we're going to be hit on to the final game in terms of Kirby Superstar Ultra. And that's what appears to be the True Arena. The last battle, without a doubt. Beat 10 tough foes, including the final 4. All the new bosses are here. Beat them to be the true master. And as you can see, we have ourselves 7 stars difficulty out of 7 stars. Meaning about the fact that this is going to be the hardest games of the bunch. And of course you can able to actually just to reselect the arena if you wanted to, but since I've already completed that, so we'll just hit on to the forms of the True Arena. Easily without doubt the hardest games of the bunch, and it's basically, we're going to be fighting against with the exact same tougher bosses again, except the fact that it's all in one goblet. But, however though, excuse me, that this time around though, we're going to be fighting against with 10 bosses as opposed to 13 bosses from the forms of our Dustin Helper the Hero, and several more in the forms of the arena. And let me tell you, this is going to be pretty tough. Because, usually, relatively speaking, do you remember in our Let's Play of Kirby's Return to Dreamland ever since about almost a year ago, that we did manage to able to tackle through the True Arena no problem with specifically the Tornado Kirby copy ability that we did manage to use. For the True Arena though, in terms of Kirby Superstar Ultra, this is one of the first introductions to the forms of the True Arena, by the way, which becomes stable in the future, which I said this before. It will return in Kirby's Return to Dreamland, and also there was one from Kirby Triple Deluxe, and even the most hardest True Arena ever in terms of the Kirby series by the forms of Kirby Planet Robobot, and even especially noticeable with the forms of the harder difficulty ranking in terms of, well, the ultimate choice in Star Allies. So, yeah, as you can see on screen, I'm going to be using the Hammer copy ability. Why? Because Hammer is awesome. Because, basically, it's the fact that what I suggest you do, that you're gonna have to able to charge up your power until you're able to do a massive damage on the forms of that particular charge up attack of the actual Hammer copy ability. And let me tell you, it is helpful. Especially noticeable whenever you get to the hardest bosses throughout. Like, obviously, the actual structure of the forms of the True Arena, it functions the same way as the forms of how it does it in the forms of the normal arena. Except the noticeable difference now is the fact that we're going to be now face off against with these bosses based off from Revenge of the King, as well as one from the forms of Helper the Hero, and another one based off by the forms of Meta Nightmare Ultra at the end. And there's also going to be the special and also the true final boss in the entire game, which we'll point things out whenever we get into it, because there's actually going to be more to it from that. So either way though, basically the hammer will able to obviously detonate bosses, as you can clearly see. And also, to keep that in mind, is the fact that you highly suggest you able to defend yourself quite a few times, because otherwise, if you don't defend yourself at all, then you're gonna get hit a lot. And also, in addition to those specific stuff worth noting for, as you can see on the actual All-Star Arena or something like that, basically it's the fact that, well, rather than just having ourselves the maximum tomatoes from the start, because now we actually get ourselves our small tomatoes this time around. So, Yeah, it's gonna be pretty tough though, and especially noticeable that, well, thankfully it doesn't go nearly as long as the forms of how it does it in the original The Arena, and as well as the forms of Helper the Hero, because I'm presuming it might actually take you about 6 minutes or so, which is a good thing, because otherwise, if it goes on for way too long by doing the actual marathon, whilst unlike the forms of Kirby Planet Robobot, oh man, from what I've seen the actual, you know, the failure montage of Kirby Planet Robobot in terms of the True Arena, it is by far the hardest True Arenas in the entire Kirby series, because obviously you have to go for the massive gauntlet. And also it does contain a secret final boss here and there as well, which it does reminds me of a similar thing for how it does it in the Kingdom Hearts games, where basically, if you played the original games before, specifically Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep and stuff like that, basically you just have to simply just, well, make it for these normal bosses and all that stuff. As for the Final Mix counterparts between those 3 games, you are able to actually just to come across into extra boss fights that you've never actually fought before. So, but either way though, that's something worth noting for. Now of course this will actually be the final time we're going to be seeing these bosses, because since we almost nearly ended the game, so as a result we're getting very close towards the end, folks. And as soon as you reach into this point right here, this is where we're able to actually expect to come across into the last 4 boss fights. So it doesn't matter if you're able to actually do the repeated playthroughs of this. So if you're able to go through last 4 segments, it always starts off masked DDD, and then eventually towards the end of that very secret final boss. But either way though, we'll talk more about it until then. Because I'm presuming after masked DDD, it will be move on to Wham Bam Jewel, and after that it will be Galactonite, and eventually the secret final boss, in this case the true final boss in this version of the game, or this remake. So, but yeah, it's not too bad and not too noticeable as you can see, and obviously the masked DDD was actually comes from the forms of Revenge of the King after all. And now we're going to be moving on to Wham Bam Jewel, which is basically based off from the final fight in Helper the Hero. And thankfully, since I still got myself my hammer ability, this means I can able to do a massive damage to Wham Bam Jewel, as you can see on screen. So, but either way though, I'm presuming that this will end in Wham Bam Jewel, even though despite the fact that I have to do this multiple times face off against with him, until whenever I do Helper the Hero off screen and during later on today, as well as tomorrow. And if I do get enough time though, then I should be able to actually just, well, show off some extras, including the sub-games that you have never seen before, including those nostalgic sub-games you know too. So of course the next fight we're going to be fighting against is of course Galactonite, as you can see on screen. And because this is entirely based off from you know, Meta Nightmare Ultra, as you can tell. Except rather than just having ourselves our healing stationery and stuff like that during the battle this time, because we have to do is, well, just simply have to keep on defending ourselves, and also to top it off with good timing and good reflexes here and there, and that's all you really have to do for this point. So, I was gonna originally try to bring my partner companion with me for the sake of this the true arena, but it might screw me up sometimes, so as a result, I'm gonna have to do it by myself. So, because just like the forms of how it does it in Kirby's Return to Dreamland, basically it's the fact that obviously we have to able to deal with the forms of some of the harder variations of certain boss fights. And there goes Galactonite. And now we go on to the forms of the last boss fight in the entire game, and does this face look familiar to you? Well, turns out, if you're able to actually notice something, there's actually marks. But, if we dive right in, we're actually going to be seeing another cinematic screen, where basically, after the events of when Milky Way Wishes ended, if you think Marks was actually done, turns out in this remake, he doesn't seem to able to make it end. Because as you can see, those little weird stuff is about to absorb marks and then combine those powers together. It will able to create, well, assuming if the fact that my cutscene doesn't seem to lag, well, at least I still blame on the emulator for it, but Usually that's how it usually goes when it comes to like not rendering certain stuff. But usually that's how it goes to it. And here we get ourselves, oh my goodness gracious, she looks a lot more creepier than ever before. And sure enough, you're able to fight against us. For sure. With a different background this time. So ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves the true final boss in Kirby Superstar Ultra. And that is Mark's Soul. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is by far the hardest boss fight in the entire game. And because of that though, usually relatively speaking, is that the fights itself is pretty much exactly similar to the forms of how it does it in normal Mark's boss fight, except it's actually really tricky and difficult, mainly due to the fact that their attacks are actually way more devastating than the forms of how it does in the original counterpart. And second of all is the fact that if you do somehow manage to get hit by a multitude of attacks, his damage output is way too high, and as a result, that's to be expected with secret boss fights, even with harder variations of certain fights. And basically he does have more attacks than ever before, and assuming if you're trying to able to defend yourselves, and good luck trying to able to dodge those attacks. And believe me, this is one of the hardest challenge ever. Well, nowhere near as hard as the forms of how it does it on that, well, Kirby Planet Robobot True Arena, which, I said this before, that is without doubt the hardest True Arena in the entire Kirby series. At least in my opinion. But anyways, let's go ahead and... oh, jeez, I almost dead. Come on, you should be dead by then. Oh, just only like 2 hits left. I think it's roughly 2 hits. Yeah, sorry folks, I'm gonna have to concentrate for this point here. Because I really need to get this done. Alright, one more. Boom! There he goes. Woo! That's actually pretty much accomplishment. And there goes Mark's Soul. Now, normally in the forms of Milky Way Wishes, you don't able to actually see that little death animation. I'm pretty sure the Super Nintendo version might have that. I'm not exactly sure, just because it's been a while since I actually played the Super Nintendo version. But anyway, we've now become the champion in terms of the True Arena. And since after all, we've pretty much 100% everything in terms of Kirby Superstar Ultra, you get yourselves the Another Cinematic, which appears to be this very similar sequence as in the forms of how it does it. If you've fallen through our Let's Play of Kirby's Return to Dreamland, we get ourselves a nice little victory animation cutscene. And after that though, we get ourselves a very special message. 100% clear, you have mastered Kirby. Which meaning that you must able to 100% every single games. The only exception being the forms of Helper the Hero if you're trying to do all 20 playthroughs of that particular game. And I'll try to do that off screen, by the way, as I said this before. And in addition to that, we also unlock the special edition blooper reel, which I'm about to show off in a moment. And also we've actually unlocked the Kirby Master, which to get that you have to 100% the game. So yeah, pretty top notch and pretty awesome at the same time. So but either way though, before I end off this video here, I will try to able to show off the forms of the theater mode, and it seems we've only got one movie left, which that's what I'm about to be doing for the sake of the next 2 days before we get on to the conclusion of this Let's Play. And for now on though, let's watch the special edition blooper reel, and it obviously based off from the forms of certain scenes from Spring Breeze all the way up to Milky Way Wishes. I'm pretty sure that's what I was thinking of anyway, so... And again, I do apologize with the forms of the audio doesn't match up to the forms of the game footage, because I'm still blaming on the emulator for that, because I was originally trying to able to do this on my actual DS capture footage, like specifically, you know, trying to able to record certain things on my DSi XL or something like that. But chances are though is the fact that I was originally trying to do that, but it's a bit too late for now. But I digress. So yeah, these special blooper reels is actually pretty hilarious to see. Especially noticeable how the fact that, well, we haven't got any kind of blooper reels for any kind of video game. Like, I kind of wish to do that in Mario and stuff like... Oh wait, Mario does have a blooper reel during the course of Mario Power Tennis for the Nintendo GameCube. I mean, those stuff is so hilariously entertaining, even on the forms of the GameCube and on the Wii as well. So, but either way though, that might be something, alright? Ooh, that's gonna hurt. Especially noticeable that Rocky did manage to block off the actual exit. Yeah, that sure is quite funny, alright? So yeah, that was the only rewards you can get. And I'm pretty sure in order to be able to unlock this particular movie is that you have to complete the true arena because, well, that's the only essential thing to do. So, yeah, that's as far as I can say about it. In fact, oh, he missed the ride! And he fell into the river or the water. Oh, jeez, I feel sorry for you, Kirby. But anyway, because, I was expecting, what if my first time I'm able to actually beat the true arena on my own time on my DS, physical copy, that, surprisingly enough, it actually took me 3 attempts. Like, one of them, I simply failed in, Galactonite fight, and I failed once in, Mark's Soul, and for the 3rd time, I did manage to able to do it no problem, so yeah, I just want to point things out from my first experience of the true arena in this game. So, yeah, something's worth noting for, and if I was thinking to myself that I did manage to able to complete that, and I seemed able to be missing something, but it turns out I have to replay through, well, Dynablade, and able to find those 2 secret switches in the end, so that way I somehow missed out, the Kirby Master video, so I did manage to get it still. So, we're going to end things off at this point right here, so join me next time for more Let's Play of Kirby Superstar Ultra. Will be the final video for this Let's Play, by showing off the sub-games, and especially noticeable with the final reward if you manage to completely done with 20 playthroughs of Helper to Hero mode. So I'll do those off screen as I said before, so I'll see you guys until on Thursday. Later, fellas.